my evaluator was more prepared than me. I didn't know she was going to get a manual. So my speech today kind of ties in with both of our previous speakers, Mark and Karen. So I'm going to be talking about how you should be thinking as an evaluator. Now, when I was first introduced to Toastmasters by the foundation CEO, which most of you know, Tom Lacharkey, he was a strong proponent of Toastmasters. But it took him about 1.5 years to convince me to join Toastmasters. Because I was thinking, what is this? And why is it for me? It's really not for me. I mean, what is it all about? After all, I was a seasoned presenter. I'd been an instructor and an instructor trainer. I'd been in front of groups. So really, I didn't need Toastmasters. So I said, just leave me alone, will you? Stay calm and leave me alone. I'm just fine. But then I did decide to come one morning, and immediately fear. You have to read the fine print. The first fear was the cheer. I'm like, what is this? What are these people doing? But then the next fear was when I stood up in front of the group to give my icebreaker speech. I'm like, I've never been this nervous or afraid in front of a group before. After all, I'd been a seasoned presenter. But from that moment on, I can honestly tell you that my life as a presenter changed. And it wasn't just the fact that I presented speeches and prepared for speeches, and sometimes in less than 48 hours, Karen. But it was more than that. It was the camaraderie and then ultimately the feedback that I started to receive. So for me, the evaluation component became the core of being in Toastmasters, as it should be for everyone here. Because if all of us are going to improve and change how we are as a presenter, then we need, one, to take being an evaluator seriously, and two, as a presenter, receiving evaluations and taking advantage of the constructive feedback that you get. So for me, it was the greatest component of being a Toastmaster. The greatest component being getting evaluations. Now, I've listened to a lot of evaluators here at this club, and some, maybe most, are excellent. But there are those evaluations that kind of just gloss over some speakers' presentations. So I urge you, when you are an evaluator, please take your role seriously, because what you say will have an impact on that presenter, on the person that you are evaluating. So simply glossing over someone and saying, that was a great speech, I love the way you did that, I love the way you did that, and I look forward to your next speech. Get into the nitty-gritty of what an evaluation is all about. And what you need to do is think about that speech as how it is going to impact your life. Whenever I give a speech, a presentation, I don't want to just give a presentation just for information's sake. My goal is to always try to inspire people. I try to inspire people through my own life experiences, my own stories, and I want to make sure that people start to think in different ways. That's my goal. You know, I'll do all those manual speeches, fulfill my role, get my communicator or whatever. But my ultimate goal is to be an inspirational speaker, and the only way I can become an inspirational speaker is when I get valuable evaluations. So when you are an evaluator, you have to look and see, what am I looking for? What is it in that speech that I'm looking for? What is the story? What is the story behind the speech? And I always think, well, first and foremost, your speech has to be relatable. Now, I can stand up here, and when I first started speaking at Toastmaster, probably 9 out of 10 of my speeches were about sharks and diving in the ocean and talking about the environment. How many of you here have been diving with sharks? So I'm relatable to 3 of you. You know, it's like when Espen, one of our previous members, an accountant like Jeff, and 9 out of 10 of his speeches were all about numbers and accounting. How many of us related to that? And we love Jeff. But we love Espen. So is your speech relatable? Those free samples, that's the only reason I go to Costco. So when you're looking at speeches, look at the examples that the speaker is presenting to support their message. And it shouldn't just be about another example about something not relatable. Does it tie in to their overall message? But then also look and give the feedback to the speaker about, well, you gave one too many examples. Or you could have given one more example. The other huge component, and this is especially important when you talk about those, you know, those tension, emotional kind of speeches, and you're always trying to break the ice on those tense moments. So the idea of always incorporating humor, and does the speaker incorporate humor into their speech? You didn't think I was not going to have a shot? Come on, you know me better than that. The other component that makes a speech powerful is the emotional connection that it creates between the speaker and the audience. Does it literally make you cry? Does it make your heart and your stomach churn with emotion because of what the presenter gave was so powerful. Because once you have that emotional connection with the audience, you've got them. You've got them in the palm of your hand. So as an evaluator, look for that emotional connection. Then look for the delivery. How is the speech being delivered? Now, I chose to be behind the lectern. And most of our speakers don't use the lectern, but there's nothing wrong with using the lectern. It can be a position of power for the presenter. But there are those speeches that warrant the presenter being a part of the audience and coming out into the audience. But what kind of things are we looking for in the delivery? We're looking for pauses. So let me read two things for you, and then look at the difference. 20 years from now, you'll be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do than the ones that you did do. So throw off the bowlines, sail away from safe harbor, catch the trade winds in your sails, explore, dream, discover. Versus, 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do than by the ones that you did do. So throw off the bowlines, sail away from safe harbor, catch the trade winds in your sails, explore, dream, discover. The other part of a powerful speech is the use of vocal variety. And we've all been there, right? How many of you have been to your classes in college, in high school, and the teacher just about put you to sleep? Because the stimulus coming from the speaker's mouth was like this. A constant hum that eventually causes you to nod off and start thinking about other things. So vocal variety. Knowing when to speak louder and when to speak softer. To put the exclamation mark that you need on that part of the speech. Look for those when you're an evaluator. Body language brings power to a speech. Does the speaker use body language appropriately when they're explaining and creating a picture for their audience? So those are the things that you as an evaluator should be looking for in a speech. But then comes the crux of what you should be doing as an evaluator, which is the constructive feedback. Because if you just gloss over, great vocal variety, great body language, I can't think of anything else you can improve, doesn't do the speaker any good. There's always something that they can improve on. So don't just tell them they look great, they did great, and paint a rosy picture. Give them the constructive feedback. So I'd like to leave you with the great philosopher Bruce Lee.
Yes. Boards, don't hit back.
I can,
That's it. How did it feel to you?
think, feel. It's like a finger pointing away to the moon. Don't concentrate on the finger or you will miss all that heavenly glory. Do you understand?
In closing, I urge you to take your role as evaluator seriously. Heather. Better Toastmasters.